What we do know is that the governor is talking with the White House about this possibility, but at this point, it's too early to determine if a mass vaccination clinic like the one we saw here at the Oregon Convention Center will be necessary for boosters.
We got the report from OHA last night.
Dr. Ann Loeffler, the deputy health officer for Multnomah County, says on Monday, OHA released the guidance and gave the go-ahead for certain immuno-compromised Oregonians to get a third COVID-19 vaccine shot.
So that's people like transplant patients and patients on treatment that suppresses their immune system, etc.
But it seems the list of people getting another shot will soon expand. The Biden administration is expected to recommend the general public get a booster. The booster is different from what's currently allowed in Oregon. According to OHSU, an additional dose helps those with weakened immune systems to get fully vaccinated, as the first 2 shots may not have been enough for the immunocompromised. Boosters are for those who did have a full response. They re-energize the immune system as vaccine effectiveness wanes over time.
My prediction is it will be coming within a matter of weeks.
Although not included yet, Dr. Loeffler says news is likely coming that will allow Johnson & Johnson vaccine recipients to also get a booster of something like Pfizer, even though it's a different type of vaccine than the J&J. We asked OHA if it's prepared for another mass vaccine rollout. The authority telling us Monday, quote, the CDC is reporting with confidence that they have the doses needed to support Oregon, both for pediatric doses and booster, should either get emergency use authorization approval.
Now, the recommendation expected is that people get that booster shot 8 months after their second shot. If you are one of the people who should be getting that third dose, one of the immunocompromised, we're told you may possibly be getting a call from your doctor's office to schedule that. If you don't get a call, give them a call and see what you should be doing.
Well, right, the district tells us that consistent with state guidelines, they are requiring that students and staff wear masks when indoors or on buses, regardless of vaccination status. For some parents, they say that's a relief. Others are voicing frustration around the impact this could have on students for the year ahead.
Do you want to be in person, or is the masks a hill to die on?
Rochelle Chase has a third grader at Kairos. He went back to school last week, and Chase says his ability to stay on campus is contingent on classmates masking up.
That's going to be an important part of mitigation in our schools this fall, especially while kids under 12 don't have access to the vaccine. We have to do everything that we can to keep kids safe in schools.
Chase tells us her son has cerebral palsy and is considered high risk. For that reason, she's encouraged by the governor's letter.
He also has asthma, so those two things together means that even though COVID tends to be mild in children, if he were to get COVID, he might not have that mild experience.
The governor says she's calling on districts to reject taking actions that defy state and federal laws. In response, the Oregon Moms Union founder tells us she understands frustration at the local level.
I do hope that they push back, and I hope that all Oregonians just stand up and fight, because I think it's really frustrating that she's put down this blanket mandate, all across the state without any regards for local government or parent choice.
Governor Brown reminded districts on Tuesday that the current K-12 mask requirement can be enforced by Oregon OSHA under state law. We did hear from multiple school leaders who tell us they understand some families oppose this.
Parents have the right to choice in their child's education, and I think a one-size-fits-all mask mandate statewide just doesn't make sense. I mean, kids aren't one-size-fits-all.
I did speak with a few other districts to learn more about how parents are responding to plans for the fall.
Well, the prosecution so far today has called 3 witnesses to the stand, but they started the day with Nikki Kuhnhausen's mom, setting the stage, trying to tell the jury exactly who Nikki was. And Nikki's mom recalled her being extremely happy and always wanting to bring happiness to others. Now, from there, the prosecutors got right to it, calling the deputy who found the skull that was later identified as Nikki's and the lead detective in the case. As you may recall, Nikki went missing back in June of 2019, sparking a massive search for the teen. It would be 6 months before she would be found. Prosecutors today, in opening statements, laid out that it's their belief that David Bogdanov strangled Kuhnhausen after learning that she was transgender. But defense is setting up a different scenario, one of self-defense.
All the evidence in this case is going to create an abiding belief the defendant took Nikki's life that night after finding out that she was transgender. That he left her body in the remote area of the woods, that he was there, that he then fled the country to try and avoid capture.
Our client did not strangle Nikki Kuhnhausen, causing her death because she's transgendered. Nikki Kuhnhausen is now deceased because Mr. Bogdanov had to defend himself against her attacking him.
During this afternoon session, Detective Jensen took the stand where he says Kuhnhausen and Bogdanov did speak over Snapchat before her death and that he was the last one to see her alive. Kuhnhausen's family was in court along with Bogdanov's mother. They both stayed on separate sides of the courtroom, and they were quiet throughout the proceedings today. Now, proceedings are continuing this evening. They are just wrapping up within the next half hour or so, but they'll be back in court tomorrow once again. Again, this trial is expected to last about 2 weeks. Now, coming up tonight at 5 o'clock, I'll bring you that emotional testimony from Nikki's mom on the stand this morning. I have that for you at 5.
Well, Steve, yes and no. In Portland, it's already against the law to block roadways as well as drive hazardously on the road. So while this ordinance would give police a few more options, what it wouldn't give them is more staffing. You can already see some of the damage left behind. You can see the tire marks, and we can still smell some of the rubber in the air from the situation that unfolded here. Police tell us they knew about the event as it was happening, but because they didn't have enough officers, they couldn't respond. Spinning cars and screeching engines keep neighbors in southeast Portland in their homes Sunday night.
I just walked out my street to the end and I saw what was going on, and I was like, well, I'm not going to walk down there because if one of those cars loses control, that's going to be pretty problematic.
Police say it's fortunate no one got hurt in the tiny intersection of Southeast Division and 48th as cars race and spin out in front of a crowd of people. While they got calls about the situation, they say there wasn't anything they could do to break it up.
Even if it's something that we could plan for, hire overtime for, we don't have the budget for it, we don't have the staffing or the interest in the overtime, and then we don't have the traffic division.
Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler will be introducing a street racing ordinance on Wednesday to make the punishment for street racing more severe. Second-time offenders could face 6 months in jail and a $500 fine. But neighbors are skeptical.
If there's no enforcement, there's no handing out tickets.
So we asked, does PPB even have the resources to go after this if this ordinance does go forward?
So we've partnered with other agencies historically, like the Oregon State Police, to do traffic missions with our traffic division. And so if you have tools in place, that's a big step in the right direction.
But at the end of the day, if there isn't enough staff to go after these calls, does the ordinance kind of fall flat?
Well, it's always multifaceted. So a good law is a great start. Having the staff to back it up is another important piece of it. And that's something that, of course, in Portland, we're really hoping to add to the equation.
Now, today, I did reach out to the Portland mayor's office to try and find out if this ordinance would bring any more staffing to Portland police, but I did not hear back. And again, this ordinance will be introduced on Wednesday afternoon.